Hello everyone, I hope you are having a fantastic week. This Broker Minute is going to be a repeat of some things that we've talked about not long ago. But the reason I'm bringing it back up is that it has come up again and again as a topic that we really need to talk about. I've contemplated calling this "It's Not My Job" or "Stay in Your Lane" or whatever it may be, but really the purpose today is to just remind us that in a lot of the real estate transactions, we are simply facilitators. We are not experts in certain areas. And the reason I bring this up is we are starting to see things come to fruition down the line when things come up. And as agents, we positioned ourselves as experts in certain areas, which has caused some confusions with the clients and therefore also caused some confusions with the attorneys when they reach out to say, hey, you're the one responsible for this. So as always, we're going to jump to the contract. It's actually a different section number now than it was the last time, but we're going to jump to the contract and we're going to look at section 24 of the contract, which you'll see right here. I'll scroll down a little so you can see it. There we go. So section 24, this is the broker disclaimer. And basically in a nutshell, what this is saying is real estate agents, we are not attorneys, we are not inspectors, we are not surveyors, we are not appraisers, we are not financial advisors, and we are not engineers or environmental experts. We also don't give any warranties as the property's condition, the square footage, title issues, any future income or anything from there. Now, obviously, you're not going to go to the client and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, I really want to tell you all the things that I'm not going to do. That's not obviously what I'm advocating for here. But what it is good to do is when you get to explaining this part of the contract, and it's actually disclosed, explained in your listing agreements as well as your buyer agreements, is this does give you the opportunity to say, hey, there are certain parts of this transaction where I'm going to facilitate you with the expert should certain things come up, particularly as you look at properties where there may be issues with the inspection or there may be issues that come along with title. You want to make sure that you don't position yourself as the go-to for everything, or I should say the information giver for everything. So for instance, if you've got a situation where there may be an issue with the HVAC, or a big one that's come up lately is polybutylene pipings, it is not your opinion as to whether or not the buyer or seller should, particularly the buyer, should move forward with the transaction. It is your opinion that they need to get advice from the inspector, or they need to get advice from a professional to say, hey, here are all of the issues that may arise or may not arise. What you don't want to do is position yourself in a place where all of a sudden something comes up and they said, well, Joseph, I remember when this happened and I asked you about it and you said that it wasn't a big deal because something hadn't happened. And again, just make sure you're facilitating that. Again, not saying to the client, don't ask me, saying to the client, that is a great question. Let's go consult the professionals on this. The next part is where this comes up again, and it's just another way for you to reiterate this to your client. Comes towards the end of the contract, which is, again, not the most exciting parts of the contract, but we're going to jump to section 28 now. And 28 basically are the acknowledgments, right? The acknowledgments are basically saying here that you've read and you understand the contract as the client, and that you understand that if there are any legal questions or specific questions that you may have as the client, that you, or consumer, honestly, or customer, they don't have to be your client. This would be something if they're in a transaction brokerage situation, you would want to make sure you cover. So I guess in a nutshell, what I want to say here is this is protecting you as a licensee. This is protecting you and making sure that they don't go to you and hold you responsible for all these big decisions that they're making. Again, it's not to say that you can't guide them or you can't put them in the right, point them in the right direction. You just want to make sure that you're not positioning yourselves as the absolute expert in fields that are outside your expertise. Even some of you who may have expertise in certain areas, you do want to make sure it's the best of your interest if you're serving as their agent, that they're actually getting a second opinion from someone who's an expert in that field. So, as always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Otherwise, have a fantastic day. Call me if you need anything. Take care.